we are going to continue on with the lesson that Mrs. Samachu did yesterday. So our objective today is converting a measurement given as a mixed number to a compound unit. Whoa, that's a lot. Let's break it up a little bit. First, I know that we've been talking about measurements and we've been converting measurements. So we talked about how many inches are in a foot, how many meters are in a kilometer, things like that. I also know, we know the term mixed number. So when we have a mixed number, we have a whole number and a fraction. So for example, we have the number 3 and 3/4. It is a mix of a fraction and a whole number. That's our mixed number. Now, I'm not quite sure what a compound unit is. Let's see if we can figure that at the end of the unit, or rather, the end of the lesson. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example here of a mixed number and of a measurement. So I have 1 3/4 foot. Okay, so if I have 1 foot about this much and then 3/4 of another foot, we're adding those together for something that is bigger than a foot. My problem here is I see right here we have feet and inches, but I'm not quite sure what to do with that 3/4. It's a little confusing for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up my 1 3/4 foot into something like this. I know that is the same as 1 3/4 of a foot. Now what I need to do is I need to convert into inches. What's really nice is I can keep my separate 1 foot whole, and I'm going to just put it right over here. I don't need to convert that into inches unless they want me to do that later. What now I'm worried about here is this 3/4 of a foot into inches. Now before I show you, I want you to think about what Mrs. Samachu taught you yesterday. She did something with of and times and something like that. So I'm going to rewrite it to see if you can understand it. She wrote something like this on her. She wrote, I'm not sure what she did here. Let's go back to our conversion chart. We had 1 foot is 12 inches. Oh, now I remember what she did. Let's go back here. I had feet. Now I want inches. Let's do 3/4 of 12 inches. And I like that she labeled it so I don't get confused. Okay? Now remember, she taught you a couple of different ways. One of the ways is she had those really nice fraction charts. You could make a fraction of 12 and do it just that way. I'm going to do it her mathematical way. So I'm going to change it to 3/4. She said of meant times. And she said 12 is the same as 12 over 1. We can look at it as dividing 12 divided by 1 equals. And we multiply right across. 3 times 12, that's a little hard for me. 2 times 3, 6. 3 times 1, 3. Oh, okay. 36 is my numerator on the top. 4 times 1, well, that's easy. That's my denominator of 4. Now, I like how she said, some of you might remember this is division. 36 divided by 4. Or if you like to see it a different way, 36 divided by 4. And if we know our math facts, hopefully Mrs. Duran remembers hers, I believe it's 9. But I like what Mrs. Samachu said. She said, you can't just leave 9. Is it 9 pickles, 9 bunnies? I don't know. It is 9 inches. So if we go back here, we've got a lot of math on the board, but I do know I pulled out my 1 foot and I kept it right here, my 1 foot. Now I wanted to know 3/4 of a foot, and I converted that to inches. So I have 3/4 of 12 inches, 1 foot, is 9 inches. So I converted my 3/4 1 3/4 feet to 1 feet and 9 inches. Wow, that was a lot. Let's erase this. I will leave this one up here as our example. Now let's do a different example. This one is minutes and hours. So I see there are 2 3/4 hours, and they're asking me to convert into how many hours, how many minutes. Now again, I'm a little confused because I see this fraction here. I don't really understand what that would be in minutes. So let's break it up a little bit easier. I know that 2 3/4 is the same as 2 and 3/4. Pretty simple. Now I do know I want to keep it in hours and minutes. Well, I know this 2 hours is 2 full hours. I'm going to keep this 2 right here with my 2 hours. But I'm left over with this 3/4 hour. What does that mean to me? Well, I'm going to go back to what Mrs. Samachi did. Let's go back to our conversion chart here. She found how many minutes are in an hour. So we found there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Let's go back here. Hey, I want to find minutes. Great. So I'm going to rephrase this as 3/4 of an hour is the same as 3/4 of 60 minutes. Now you can use any way that you want to. I love the way that Mrs. Samachi did it. Let's see if I can do a different way. I'll do 2 this time. I do the mathematical way of 3/4 of means times. 60 minutes is the same as 60 over 1. And then we did 3 times 60 for our numerator. I like the trick Mrs. Samachi used. She covered up that sneaky little 0. I know that 3 times 6 is 18, but I do have to add my 0 back. And I know that 4 times 1 is 4. And this means, is it add, subtract, multiply, divide? I don't remember. Divide. Oh, yay, thank you. This is the same as 180 divided by 4, which is the same as 180 divided by 4. Okay. Now I can go in this way. 4 cannot go into 1, but 4 can go into 18. So if I count by 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16 goes in 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. 18 minus 16 is 2. Bring down your 0. 4 can go into 20. I believe it's 5 times if you count. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. There is no remainder. 45, I'm done, right?
Nope.
I wish I was. 45 horses, that'd be cool. 45 bananas, that's a lot. Oh, 45 minutes. So I know that 3/4 of an hour is the same as 3/4 of 60 minutes. And 3/4 of 60 minutes is in fact 45 minutes. Okay. I have one more for you. Let's come over to the side. Oh, this one I'm not as familiar with. I see 2 4/5 kg, and I want kg and g. I don't quite remember what that is, but if you're at home, I will give you a hint. Kg is kilograms, and g is grams. So my little note over here is how many grams grams are in a kilogram? Some of you might remember the trick, but if not, let's go back over here. And over here, oh look, there's my kg and J. I have 1 G. Oh, G, thank you. Good thing Mrs. Smashu's here. I have kilogram and gram. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. I think that's gonna help us a lot. Let's come back over. Okay, if you're at home, before I do the first step, I want you to think about it. Or if you have a sibling, talk to them. What would you do first? If you said, break it up into 2 and 4 fifths, hey, good job, you're correct. If not, that's okay. That's why we're working through it together. Now, I do know that I have my 2 whole kilograms. I'm gonna stick that right up here and not have to worry about it again. I do wanna know what is 4 fifths kilograms, but that doesn't quite make sense to me. So let's write it out the way Mrs. Smashu did. She did 4 fifths kilograms. And I know that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So let's do 4 fifths of 1,000 grams. Now, this is a big old number. So I'm gonna do it a way that she did teach you, and we taught you last week. See if you remember. In my brain, I'm gonna do it, and we'll see if you guys follow. I'm gonna do 1,000 divided by 5. Now the reason why I did this is I'm gonna break it up into 1/5 of 1,000. I'll come back to that for later. If I do 1/5 of 1,000, that is the same as saying 1/5 of this times 1,000 over 1. Over 5. Now some of you might know the zeros trick. Some of you might be a little more difficult. I'm one of those people that's a little more difficult. Let's do 1,000 divided by 5. I know that 5 cannot go into 1. Oh, I do know that 5 can go into 10. That goes in 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. Bring down that 0. Here's where it gets a little tricky. 5 cannot go into 0. So it goes in 0 times. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 minus 0, 0. Bring down that, oh my gosh, another 0. 5 cannot go into 0. 0 times 5 is 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. We can do a quick check. 5 times 2 is 10 with 2 zeros left over. If you already knew that trick, awesome, you're a step ahead. Okay. So we know that 1,000 divided by 5, I need a bigger whiteboard, is 200. But again, 200 what? 200 grams. Now, I might have confused you. You might say, woohoo, Mrs. Duran, we're done, 200 grams, blah, 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 great. Ooh, not yet. If you're at home with a parent or a sibling or a dog or a cat or maybe a horse, I want you to explain to them why I cannot just put 200 grams right there. Good job. I heard all those great conversations. If you said it's because we wanted 4 fifths of 1,000 grams, you are correct. We did 1/5 of 1,000 grams. Okay? So with your partner or your stuffed animal, whatever you have there, I want you to see if you can figure out what would I do with this 200. If 1/5 is 200 grams, what would I do with my 4 fifths? Now if you said everything was the same except for that 4. You're correct. Let's keep our 200 grams. And instead of there being 1 part, we now have 4 parts. So I'm going to do my 200 grams times 4. Now I'm going to do my easy trick. 4 times 2 is 8 with 2 zeros. So now I have 2 kilograms. 4/5 kilograms is the same as 800 grams. This is some advanced math right here. If you are confused on this, please don't worry. We're going to upload another video that goes through your homework page that walks you step by step. But the main thing we want you to consider is your measurement. That conversion table that we did upload onto that resource tab, and our mixed numbers, and we're converting them. So if you have any questions, again, reach out to your teachers. I'm always available as well. We'll be uploading another video to help you with your homework. Happy homework!